What's up everybody, I'm HoopsandHipHop. So a few weeks ago, I made a video highlighting some amazing Pokemon theories that relate to the fairy type. I really love covering Pokemon theories in this way where we can talk about some of the best ones ever, and you guys really seem to enjoy that video, so I thought I would go ahead and try it out with another type, more specifically the famous counterpart to the fairy type, the dragon type. When it comes to Pokemon theories, the Dragon type is such a rich source of content because not only are Dragon type Pokemon some of the rarest and most powerful in the Pokemon world, but because they are so rare and powerful, many of them are also legendaries as well, which obviously lends itself to a lot of lore, a lot of myths and legends, and basically a lot of content for really good Pokemon theories. And so I am here today to share with you guys 5 amazing Dragon type Pokemon theories. These theories relate to the Dragon type in a number of different ways, whether it has to do with a Dragon type specialist or a Dragon type Pokemon itself. Either way though, this is all about the Dragon type and theories relating to it, and all of these are really incredible and amazing in their own right, and they're really fascinating, and I really had an amazing time looking through them and just being amazed by them myself, so I can't wait to share them with you guys right now. So without any further ado, let's get started. Alright, so this first one is actually a pretty recent one, coming from none other than one of the Pokemon theory masters himself, Birdkeeper Toby. Now this theory involves Dragon types and non-Dragon types alike, as it suggests that not only are Latias and Latios related to the Togepi family in some kind of evolutionary or familial way, but on top of that, all of these Pokemon are also directly from the Dream World. The Dream World is a place that was introduced in Generation 5, and evidence in support of the fact that Latias, Latios, and the Togepi family are all from here has to do with the fact that all of these Pokemon have a connection to mirage-like locations that are there one moment and gone the next. Latias and Latios are from or can be found on Southern Island, which appears and disappears every so often like so many other mirage spots in Hoenn, and then Togepi in the anime can actually also be found in the Mirage Paradise, which is a location specific to it, which also appears and disappears just like the Southern Island. There's also the fact that both of these Pokemon specifically reference sleep and dreams within the information we know about them. In one of Togepi's Pokedex entries, it mentions sleep and sleeping Togepis, and in the case of Latias and Latios, when you go to the Southern Island, there will actually be a stone there that you can interact with before the Pokemon appears that talks about the concept of dreams as well. But the connection between these two Pokemon goes even further because it's also very possible that these two Pokemon could be directly related to one another, because if you take a look at Latias and Latios, they both have a red triangle and a blue triangle on their stomachs or chests respectively, whereas Togepi has these exact same red and blue triangles on the shell of its egg, and Togepi and Togekiss also have this same pattern on their body as well, and all of these Pokemon in their Pokedex entries and their species names and all the information we know about them all have to do with things like happiness, compassion, and emotions that all tie together and relate to one another very, very closely. So could it be the case that the Togepi family is actually directly related to Latias and Latios? Could they be an ancestor of some kind? Could Togepi be the result of Latias and Latios laying an egg and then it actually evolved into its own family separately? It's hard to say, but the connection between these Pokemon and the similarities is definitely there, and I highly encourage you to check out Toby's theory. Link will be in the description if you want to learn more. This next one is a fairly classic one within the Pokemon community, and that's the idea that the Dragon-type Pokemon Garchomp and the Water-type Pokemon from Generation 3 Sharpedo are actually evolutionary relatives to one another. This theory comes in the form of just comparing Sharpedo and Garchomp's designs respectively. First off, both are shark Pokemon, one being a land shark, one being an actual aquatic shark, and then their colorations and patterns on their bodies are also very similar. They're also both dark blue in coloration and also have a very distinctive golden star-shaped pattern on their forehead. And if you also look at Sharpedo's pre-evolution Carvanha, it also has the exact same coloration as Garchomp, down to the 3 specific colors, blue, yellow, and red. So these very distinct and significant visual similarities lend themselves heavily to the idea that at one point, Garchomp and Sharpedo were once the same Pokemon and, based on their different locations of Hoenn and Sinnoh respectively, eventually evolved into the different forms that we now know today as a result of their evolutionary and environmental needs. This is so convincing, in fact, that I would personally consider it a fact myself, and it would be very interesting to see, now that we have the concept of regional variants, if these Pokemon will ever be officially connected in some way, because the most recent appearances for the Sinnoh and Hoenn regions came before the concept of regional variants was introduced. So maybe when the opportunity arises, we'll get some information on a regional variant form of Garchomp and or Sharpedo that will connect these two Pokemon together evolutionarily speaking, either in the form of a previous ancestor or a regional variant. Next up is another theory relating to the Hoenn region, and more specifically the Draconid people. Now this theory comes from none other than fellow PokeTuber Derek Triforce, and in the theory he suggests that the Draconids are actually the ancestors of the Dragon Tamer clan in Johto, and actually built the Dragon's Den in Blackthorn City. The evidence in favor of this theory comes in the form of the fact that the Draconids and the Dragon Tamer clan are both tribes of people that worship Dragon-type Pokemon, so they're already very similar just on that base comparison. However, there is also direct evidence that at one point, ancient people from Hoenn traveled to Johto in order to build specific structures, more specifically the Embedded Tower, which is a tower in the Johto region that houses the Weather Trio in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, including the Dragon-type Rayquaza, who the Draconid people specifically worship. And if that wasn't convincing enough for you, in the Pokemon Adventures manga, the master of the Dragon Tamer clan is actually seen wearing a helmet that depicts Rayquaza specifically, which is very interesting considering not only is it the specific Pokemon that the Draconid people worship, but also because of the fact that the Dragon Tamer clan resides in Johto. If they are a Johto-based tribe, why wouldn't they worship a dragon Pokemon from there, like say Kingdra or maybe even Dragonite in nearby Kanto? This all adds up very nicely and paints a very fascinating picture at what very well could be the early history of the Pokemon world. Next up comes one that might just be my favorite in this video because it tackles a huge issue and point of controversy in the Pokemon franchise in the most ingenious and convincing way possible, to the point where I personally consider it a fact. And this would surround the idea of Lance and his underleveled Dragonites in Pokemon Gold, Silver, Crystal, and their remakes. Now, Lance in these games is very well known for not only being the champion of the Pokemon League, but also having 3 Dragonites, all of which are underleveled in the sense that they are below the level 55 threshold that is required for Dragonair to reach in order for it to evolve into Dragonite in the first place, as they all reside around the late 40s level range, several levels before level 55. For years, many people have called Lance a cheater because of this, but there's actually a perfectly natural and convincing explanation for why this is the case that not only proves how this happens in the lore perspective of the game, but also completely validates Lance and the fact that his Pokemon are legitimate. The explanation for this is rather simple, and it comes from the main plot of the games, more specifically Team Rocket trying to broadcast a signal from the Goldenrod radio tower that will actually force Pokemon to evolve. This is of course how we got the legendary Red Gyarados from the Lake of Rage, and we also know that Lance infiltrates Team Rocket's hideout in the game in order to attempt to stop them and also help you with doing so. So this is direct evidence that Lance himself was right in the thick of Team Rocket's shenanigans when they were broadcasting a signal that forced Pokemon to evolve. So it's actually pretty convincing to see that, given Lance was there during that time, that his Dragonites, or rather Dragonairs at the time, were simply exposed to this radio wave that, even though Lance and you as the player character were successful in stopping Team Rocket, didn't stop his Dragonairs from actually being forced to evolve into Dragonites, which is why you see them being underleveled when you face him as the champion, and even when you see a level 40 Dragonite on his team when you double battle with him against Team Rocket. At the end of the day, the real reason quote-unquote is just to accommodate for the level curve of the games, but this very conveniently and extremely convincingly provides an in-lore, in-universe explanation as to why this is the case, and like I said, I personally consider it fact as far as I'm concerned. And last but not least, we're actually going to take a look at the Hoenn region one more time because apparently there's a lot of dragon stuff to be had here, and that actually has to do with the dragon type specialist of the Elite Four, Drake. Now, even though Drake is a dragon type master, he sports the outfit of a sailor or a captain of a ship, which is kind of interesting because you think that type of getup would be reserved for a water type specialist instead of a dragon type. The other very distinct thing we can notice about his clothes though is the fact that they look very disheveled and torn up. If you look at his coat, the bottom lining of it is significantly torn up, and he doesn't even have a shirt on either, which you think as a professional captain of what we can assume is a big fancy ship, you think he would at least have the decency of putting on a shirt. Well, all of this starts to make a little bit more sense when we go back to the original Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald and consider the fact that in these original Hoenn games, there is a location called the Abandoned Ship, which is literally a ship that in some way, shape, or form crashed and resulted in the abandonment of the ship itself directly at sea. So the theory here is that Drake was actually at one point the captain of the abandoned ship at the point where it capsized, and he was forced to basically do anything he could to survive, which resulted in his kind of disheveled and tattered up look with his sailor outfit. And the real cherry on top to this whole situation is that in Pokémon Emerald, which is one of the Hoenn games where the abandoned ship actually appears, there is this feature called the match call, which allows you to rematch certain characters and also gives you certain information about them. Well, amongst all of this personal information, Drake's self-introduction, or bio as it's called nowadays, in Pokémon Emerald states that I dedicate myself to the Pokémon that saved me. Now, why would he say this if he wasn't a part of some cataclysmic event where Pokémon literally had to play a part in saving his life, like the crashing and sinking of a certain abandoned ship, which is very plausible given Drake's sailor outfit combined with the presence of the abandoned ship itself. Even though this is a brief one, I absolutely love it because it provides for a very interesting and convincing backstory for one of the most important characters within the Hoenn region and one of the most interesting locations within Hoenn as well. And there we have it, everybody. Those were 5 amazing Dragon-type Pokemon theories. Now, as much as I love these theories and love sharing them with you guys, I definitely cannot claim them as my own, so if there is a specific author to any one of these theories, the link to that specific author or video will be in the description below, so be sure to check those out. If you did enjoy the video though, be sure to give it a like, and let me know down in the comments below what you think of these theories, and if you would like to see videos like this for every other type as well, because I had a lot of fun doing this one and I would love to do it for every type. If you guys are new to the channel though, be sure to subscribe for more Pokemon content every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and be sure to check out my Spotify as well if you haven't, because that directly supports the channel. It's sincerely appreciated, and I also want to thank any of you that have already done so because we've been seeing some awesome growth over there, and it is seriously making a difference for the channel, and I cannot thank you enough. With all that being said though, I'll be back on Tuesday for another video, so be sure to hit that notification bell so you can know when it goes live, and with all of that being said, you know I love you guys, and I will smell you guys later.